Ebenezer Baptist Chapel had stood in Uxbridge Road, Mill End, since 1823. Today, June the 11th, 1960, the foundation stone of a new building in the newly formed extension to Field Way was being laid by the President of the Baptist Union, the Reverend F.C. Bryan. Inside the chapel stands the architect's model of the proposed new premises. It is being built to a small and rigid budget. Mill End was a growing area, and these new buildings were a necessity. A raised pulpit dominated the ground floor in the chapel, where chairs had replaced the wooden pews when a central aisle was introduced in 1947. On the east wall, the War Memorial. Upstairs, the rear pews of the gallery had been replaced by redundant tip-up cinema seats. In Field Way, the site had been cleared and footings and concrete apron laid in preparation for the stone laying ceremony. Back at the chapel, chairs were being loaded for transit to the Field Way site. It was a wet, damp morning, and the church secretary, helped by Fred Brownsell, was loading, unloading and setting out ready for the ceremony. But Bert Attrell brought his own chair by bicycle. The chairs got very wet, but sunshine appeared by lunchtime and willing helpers soon wiped them dry. The names of the principal officers and guests stuck to the backs of the chairs survived the downpour. By means of poster and press, the event was widely publicised. To assist motorists, a direction sign was placed in the front garden of a member, pointing to the new entrance to Field Way and the church site. For many months the site had been well marked so that during the construction period, passers-by would know the purpose of the development. Members and friends, some from Rickmansworth, Croxley Green, Chorley Wood and other local churches, began to arrive, as well as those of our own congregation, including some former members and ministers. Planning for the new building began in 1936, but everything went on hold due to the Second World War. When the project was revived in the 1950s, some serious problems affecting the site had to be overcome. In effect, the church had waited some 25 years for this project to commence. These years of delay were used to increase the building fund. The devotion to meet the need for new premises reflects the faith of the members and the congregation. The adjacent York House School was represented by Mr. A. White, the headmaster, and the official guests, Mrs. Whiteside and Thomas, chairman and deputy respectively, represented the local council. Two church members, the Reverend J. Marker and Deacon Fred Smith, are seen here. The proceedings were to open with a fanfare by our Boys Brigade. Eventually the crowd grew, and after the fanfare, the Reverend Hagger of Chorley Wood welcomed everyone. The church secretary thanked the local council and many others involved in the project for their freely given help. The Reverend Brian then laid the foundation stone, supervised by a builder's foreman. Then, with the foundation stone truly laid, the congregation walked back to the chapel for a service of thanksgiving. As the crowds dispersed, Messrs. Whiteside and Thomas extended congratulations to the church officers. In the Ebenezer Chapel forecourt, a sales table gave worshippers the opportunity to pay for various items, from a single brick to the baptistry, at prices ranging from pennies to pounds. These are the people who had laboured prayerfully and hard for this day, and brisk and good-natured business was done at the table. The children were treated to a tea on the rear lawn of the chapel, eating and drinking at such speed as to keep the helpers constantly on their toes. The foundation stone was inscribed to the glory of God, so an historic day closed with a sense of looking forward to moving into new premises by Easter 1961.